Okay, so this is the chicken, and it's not a very pretty dissection, but to give you an idea of the parts of the bird. So this is for class Aves, which stands for birds, and probably the most unique feature about birds is their feathers. So feathers allow them to fly, but they also have other special features that give them adaptations for flight. So they have feathers, they have little tiny down feathers for warmth or insulation, but then they have the contour feathers, which are for flight, and other specialized feathers for flight. So they have wings and they have feathers. They have on their legs, they're hard and scaly like lizards. So this feature is still remnant of reptiles that they're related to. These are their claws. The back one is called a spur. So they're often specialized depending on what they tend to do, what they tend to eat, what their activities are, that sort of thing. They have a beak that's specialized depending on what they tend to eat. Okay, so some, like hawks, would have more pointy beaks so that they can rip and tear apart meat. In terms of chickens, these are some unique features. They have a comb and they have wattles. Birds have movable eyelids. I can't get that to stay so you can see. Move, please. Okay, so they have movable eyelids so that you can see their eyes. And then they have a remnant of a nictitating membrane in the corner of their eye, kind of like what a frog had. So it's kind of a third little bit of one that comes across. They have ears and earlobes so that they can hear. And anything else about their external features? So they have a cloacal opening. So this is their cloacal opening or vent. So that is a common exit. The cloaca receives products from their urinary tract, from their digestive tract, and from their reproductive tract. So this is where eggs would come out, but it's also where their feces and urine comes out. And they kind of make like a paste, another feature of flight. Some of their other features for flight, they have really strong, so we had to remove their skin layer, and under their skin was a major layer of fat. Not all birds would have as much, but chickens don't tend to fly as much as other birds. They don't really fly, so they would have more fatty deposits more readily. So they have a really strong, this is their breastbone. So this is their breastbone. It's called a keel, and it's modified and large. And if you saw a picture of their skeleton, it would be good to look at, because you can see the keel, and you'll notice it if you were eating a chicken, sorry to say, but if you were to take the breastbone meat off, this is the breast muscles, the pectoralis muscles, which we eat as the chicken breast. Those are their big flight muscles. Okay, so they need a good place of attachment, and that's the keel. So we'll take that off. It was actually like this anyway. We had it upside down. There we go. So we removed that and the rib cage in the front so that you could see what is normally inside. Oops, more fatty tissue. What's normally inside in terms of their organs. Alright, so this is part of their trachea, so they have a windpipe like us, and then right in behind it is their esophagus. So the esophagus would carry food right down into their crop. So this is actually their heart. So they have a 4-chambered heart like us. and they need a 4-chambered heart because they need to make sure they get lots of oxygen to their tissues, especially if they're flying. So it goes into their crop. Let me see if I can find the crop. Crop is up in, behind there. It's a lot easier if we remove more parts, but this is a rushed one. Okay, this is the liver sitting over here. The liver has very similar texture in all of the organisms that we've seen. It's fairly hard and chalky-like. So this would be the crop and the proventriculus, and then this is the hard muscular gizzard. So like in an earthworm, this is the part of the stomach. Remember, they don't have teeth, so like earthworms, they swallow their food, and they swallow bits of rock, and then in the gizzard, it's muscular and it's going to turn it against the rocks and help to break down the food stuff. And then we have a whole lot of coiled up intestines. Okay, and then it'll go out through into the cloaca. Their wastes will go out through into the cloaca. Now, over here on the side, we're not really doing reproductive, but over here on the side, down in deep there, that is the ovary and the coiled up oviduct, and then before it leaves, the developing embryo would go through what's called the shell gland. So at the very top of the oviduct, fertilization would take place, and then before it leaves and goes into the vent, it would enter the shell gland, where a shell would be placed onto the egg. I think that might be it right there. If I could have maybe dissected it, taken it out for you. Anyway, so it goes in through a shell gland, it's covered, and then the egg with the shell on it comes out through the vent. Okay, and I think anything else to show? Digestive tract, respiratory tract. So they have special respiration. They have lungs, but they also have special air sacs, and you can't really see them in here because they, well, I think that's a membrane part of one. When we dissect and open them, they're kind of harder to see. So that's special to note about them too. So they have special air sacs as well as lungs to help with breathing. Breathing, not breeding. Okay, so that's about it for the bird, for the aves.